Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome back to yet another episode of The Journey, which comes your way every time here in Block TV Gambia. With me, your host, Mariam Ceesay. And yes, of course, today with me, I am with the GPU Award Committee. With me, I am with the Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, Isa Tuketa, and of course, a member of the National Journalism Award, Sana Kamara. So, by like madef, ma support suma Suma sister. So let me start with Aisha Tuketa. Aisha, you're welcome on the Journey program.
Thank you so much, Mariam. It is a pleasure for us to be here to talk about GPU, but most specifically on the National Journalism Awards.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you. And now to my Kamara Kunda, Sana Kamara, you're welcome to the show. And mind you, there's no food or water here, so you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
I am so much glad having you all here. So without wasting much of your time, as you all know how we do it every time here in the Block TV, we do bring fascinating people that are to discuss about things that you know that will benefit our audience. So today with me, I am with the award committee of the National Journalism Award, which is to happen on December. So let me start with Aisha. Aisha, can you kindly tell us what is this National Journalism Award all about?
When you look at it, journalism per se, it's a very noble profession. And then you've seen people into it and all that. People do amazingly well in terms of the work they do on a daily basis to feed the masses with information and all that. So this was something that the Gambia Press Union, which is the umbrella body of all journalists in the country, saw it that there is a need to reward or award these journalists. So we call it awarding excellence in journalism. So every year we opened entries to look at different stories that journalists write or different things that journalists think that maybe in the whole year this I've done one story which has actually made impact. So it is open for every journalist, for journalists to actually send in their works, and in that we select what the best among the stories that have been submitted and look at how best do we also try to award them, and this serves as a motivation for them to do more in terms of the work that they do. As you know, the work of journalism is quite daunting, but it is duty bound upon every person that is working as a journalist.
So thank you so much for that wonderful update. So Sana, can you please tell us for how long do GPU start doing this award night?
Okay, it's the 7th edition, which means it's the 7th year. I think we started in 2015. It's become a tradition now because throughout the year, there is only one day dedicated to celebrating work of journalists, which is the World Press Freedom Day. Now, this National Journalism Awards is the flagship program of the World Press Freedom Day. But because of the logistics involved in organizing the event, it's not possible to hold it on the 3rd May when we celebrate the World Press Freedom Day. So it's become a tradition where we honor, we recognize, and promote excellence in journalism. People who work very hard to, like Isa said, to write stories and bring news to the comfort of every news consumer in the country. Remember, the public out there, they don't understand what we go through. Okay, they are consumers, so they are consuming the end product of something that we sacrifice a lot to bring to them. So on a day like this, we reflect back and look at the role of journalists in society. We look at the role of journalists in the Gambia and the role of journalists in democracy. So we celebrate each other in a way to motivate, to inspire, and also to celebrate.
So Aisha, how do you do your selection?
The selection has nothing to do with the committee that is set up. The submission entries are open to every journalist. Once you know that you've done something that you think people could see and has done impact, you're open to be part of this to send in your submission. So once that happens, we have a number of judges that look into this. So they look at these submissions that have been sent individually, and later they will sit as a team to look at what do we think, have I selected this particular individual, or why do I think this story should be selected. So there are criteria that are actually been set out for the judges to look at. So when the story meets these criteria, then they make shortlisting, and amongst those shortlisting, there must actually be one that will come out. Although thousands can be selected, but there must be one that will stand out amongst all the rest that have been submitted.
So are the judges part of the Gambia Press Union?
No, the judges these are independent and neutral individuals that are independent of the Gambia Press Union.
Thank you so much. So Sana, how many categories do you have?
Generally, I think we have 15 categories this year.
15, okay.
Last year we had 14. We have an additional one, which is disaster reporting. Disaster is added this year as a special category because remember 2020 we had a special category on COVID-19.
Yeah, sure.
Now, considering what's happening every year in the Gambia, the floods, the fire disasters, the impact of the climate change, we think it's necessary to also consider this as a special category. Okay, we are also making a special focus on photojournalism this year because we also want them to feel included. And that category is a category that also doesn't look at only photographers, but also videographers and cameramen and women who struggle very well to make sure that reporters are able to tell their stories. So in the past, we've not recognized them since we started. I think this is going to be the first opportunity for us to have them also getting recognized. Also, there are special GPU categories. GPU will give out 2 categories every year to personalities or institutions whom they feel have contributed strongly to media development as well as press freedom in the country. Beside that, there are institutionalized kind of categories. For example, we'll have the network of the year, for which, for example, Block TV could apply for. We will have TV station of the year, newspaper of the year, commercial radio of the year, as well as the, what is the other one? Community radio, community radio of the year. So generally, we want to be as inclusive as possible. And so that's why we make sure there is a wide array of categories that everybody could have an opportunity to bid for something.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And this is something what some journalists are saying or complaining, because most of them will be like, GPU should have recognized the work that journalists do instead of asking them to apply and then to bring our story so you can go through it to be part of the award committee or the journalism award. So what can you say about that?
When you look at it now, for instance, if you are supposed to award everybody that works in a media institution, I will take for example a big institution like GRTS per se. You cannot recognize the work of all of those people, although everybody does remarkably well. But how would you be, what is your measurement for the best work? We cannot we cannot reward the work of all of those people that are there. And so it is, how are we able to measure or know who is doing best? What strategy are we going to use in order to know who does best in journalism? So the only way we can do that, you know what you've been doing the entire year, you know the best work that you've done. So it is you bringing that work out, and then from that we will be able to have judges that will look into it to see whether that one is a good work or not a good work. And then when you look at it, also the award is something that involves a whole lot of resources, and GPU as an institution, as we know, is a non-profit institution. Most of what we have are from donors. So when we don't have money to be able to award all of these things, how are we even able to make things work at the end of the day?
So thank you so much. And also, how are you going by the invitation? Because most of the journalists will be like, we are part of the Gambia Press Union. I don't know. There is something that will be, there is a page or something, I don't know, Wajak, something like that. If you are a member of Wajak, they say you go for free. But if you're not a member of Wajak, they will ask you to pay money before going to that award night. I am a journalist, but I never attend. Like I was told about it, like, but I am a journalist, I never attend. So I want you to clarify that as the president of GPU.
Okay, I think this is something that I think it's new, and I think Sana could actually agree with me on that. We do not do that. I will just take you from where I stopped in the last question you asked. You made, when I told you that GPU is a non-profit organization, and we do not have funds to cater for all of these things. So we usually set benchmarks of how many people do we think we will be able to invite. So amongst all this, maybe we could use the yardsticks of maybe having 200 or 250 people that we can invite. Amongst these 250 people, we have our partners and donors. And then when you put all of these together, we cannot, the number of journalists in the country far supersedes what the number of people that GPU can cater for. So what we usually do is to send invitations to media houses, at least invitations to media houses. So it is on those media houses to choose which people do we think we should send in to go for the awards night. And then those invitations, amongst those invitations, we also give this the people that are shortlisted, because you cannot be shortlisted and you can go. And even if you go, you must bring in somebody that could accompany you or support you. Maybe Sana can take it up from that.
Okay, thank you, Aisha. She's definitely right. What happens is, if, for example, we send 2 invitations to Block TV. I'm sure your MD and maybe the lead producer wants to come for the night. Or the MD say, okay, let me relax and allow my workers to go. But even if you have 10 staff, that 2 invitation is not enough for all of you to go. Okay. And like she said, if we shortlist, let's say 15 awardees for the night, we give them invitation. Remember, when you shortlist, we are shortlisting the best 3 in each category. Okay. So 15 by 3 is already 45. So if you cater for 200 participants, 50 is already gone just for the nominees alone. And you know, like she said, nominees will have to bring in one or a family member to be there to celebrate the night with them. So basically, it's not enough to bring into everybody. That's why this year we are introducing a new thing. We are saying we will still maintain the traditional 2 invitations, but we are also giving an opportunity for media houses to buy tables. Now, this is important because commercially, what we've seen being done here in the Gambia for all the other awards that are, fundraising, the way they go about it, the way they go about their fundraising, they will send tables from 100,000 to 150,000, 250,000. We are not going that far. But if you pay for $50,000 to buy a table, you can have a dedicated table.
How much is the table?
50,000. That's the maximum. Yeah, but from maximum to 50,000 to 25,000. For 50,000, you can have a table of 8. That means if you pay 50,000, you can be able to bring 8 of your staff members to come on that night, wine and dine with us and everything, just like the normal. Okay. And this will be different from the 2 invitations that we're going to send to you. So in that way, we should be able to expand the number of participants that are coming. But in case you are not able to pay 50,000, you can pay 25,000 and bring 4. But that means that 4 will have to share the table with another media house. Okay. So instead of having a table dedicated to Block TV, you would have a table that is just labeled table number 12, and you will have Block TV staff and maybe another media house staff setting that table together. So we want to make sure, like we said, the policy is to be as inclusive as possible. If we are able to cater for 500, of course, remember this night is not only about journalists. We also have friends of the media, from the diplomatic community, from the civil society, from the private sector, and all over the place. You understand? Even from government. Every year we will have the Minister of Information joining us. Maybe this year we may have the President, or we may have somebody else from the cabinet. We never know. So imagine all of those people coming together, and it's all on the GPU to make sure that each of these persons on that night, they feel celebrated, okay? They feel recognized, and they are special as our guests. So it's a big burden for us to roll out this event every year. And the way we've been going about it, every year we look back and say, okay, what have we done last year that we want to improve on this year? So we've realized that going about it in that way for GPU to pay and bring only 200 participants is limiting our capacity. If we start introducing people paying for the table, even at a non-profit cost, that means we should be able to actually double the number of people coming. At the same time, that money we are raising can go into providing the logistical needs of the awards night. Yeah,
thank you so much. So where are you hosting this year's award?
It's not yet specific. We are still on venue scouting. Like he said, year in, year out, we want to ensure that we set standards as far as the awards is concerned. And as you know, it's one of the most prestigious awards in the country. So we want to make sure that whenever we stage it, the following year, it becomes better than what we've hosted the previous year. So we are still on venue scouting. And I know at the end of the day, we will come out with the best venue that will be suitable for everyone that is coming.
All right. Do you have partners? If yes, who are your partners?
For now, we don't have any official partner, but we are looking out for partners. And that is, I think, Block TV could actually even come in as a partner of the GPU and see how best we will be able to collaborate.
What can we do? And what can we support? Because we are also trying like GPU actually. So
you could come in and say that you want to host the event live for us.
Okay, okay, no problem.
At a free cost, to say. So in that way, you become a partner of the Gambia Press Union National Journalism Award. So we want partners, even if not maybe giving money, but what services can you provide to the GP for the awards that will be beneficial and then increase what we seek to look out for at the end of the day.
Yeah. So this question, I think you've answered it, but it's not that much clear to me. Why do GPU think it's very important to organize this award for journalists every year?
It's like repeating myself again. We do work. You at least should be one particular day set out to recognize the work that you do. Imagine working the entire year without your work being recognized, or at least a day that is set out for journalists. And like Sana said, it became because of the World Press Freedom Day that is annually celebrated. So in this event, we incorporated the GPU Journalism Award so as to recognize excellence in journalism and just to seek to recognize the work that journalists do on a daily basis. Especially,
do you give cash to the winners, or how do you do that?
We give cash and other valuables to the winner of each category.
Beside cash, there is cash prize every year.
Okay.
I think last time was 5,000.
5,000.
The year before that we had.
Every
Oh no,
winner.
well last year was 3,000 though, because last year we had short on forms. The year before last we gave 5,000 to each winner.
To each winner.
So if you win 2-3 categories, you're going home with 15,000. This is about $300, right? But remember also, this night is not only about making money. It's about recognition.
Sure, that's
for me,
means a lot.
I mean, for us at the awards committee, that's the most important part. You get fulfilled when your work is recognized. Out of tens of participants or applicants for that award, you stand out as best among all of them. For me, that's alone. It's if I'm an applicant, that will be very gratifying. Okay, for your work to be recognized that day and you are called on stage, they provide you with a trophy. You have a cash prize.
That means a lot.
You have a certificate of recognition. And sometimes we even have partners. For example, the Business Journalist of the Year. Last year, Unique Group, actually, they've been sponsoring for the past 2 years.
Unique.
They will give out tablets. They will give out
Okay.
they will give out cell phones. They will give out power banks. Laptops, printers. So it depends. I think that was a particular year when one of the property developers gave a plot of land, yes, to the journalist of the year. So it depends on what kind of partnerships we have and what kind of packages that are available. This year we are hoping we should be able to give maybe a brand new car if possible. If that is possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody could
Then
be
I
a
think
brand
I would
new car.
apply. I hope I am not late.
Somebody
We have six more days to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So somebody could win an air ticket. If we have an airline that wants to come in and support, instead of giving us cars, you give us air ticket. Somebody could win a return ticket to Dakar probably or to Dubai. You never know. Okay. Somebody could also come in and say, okay, maybe LG Electronics, for example. You could say, okay, we don't have cars, but we want to give smart TV to the winner of Business Journalism Awards. These are just examples I'm talking about. Okay. So it depends on which kind of sponsorship packages we are able to put together.
Yeah. So thank you so much, guys. It was really amazing having you here. If you have anything that you want to see that I didn't ask, you can go ahead, please.
Well, maybe what I could add is we need more partners because, like I said, organizing such an award it requires so much fund and resources.
Sure.
And then GPU might not be able to do all of these things alone. So we need the support of partners, individuals to help us make this day a success. And also to remind journalists of we just have 6 more days towards the end of the submissions for the different categories, so they could try and do all they can to ensure that they've submitted their stories on time.
So your final message.
Yeah, like I said, for me, this is a day that we need to recognize the work of each other.
Sure.
It's a small community, okay, but it's growing. Journalism back in the days, it was not as flourishing, as successful as it is today. Now we have various media houses coming up from both print, online, and television. So, and broadcast media. So, which means we have more media houses coming, we have more people joining journalism, we have more journalism schools. So, it means we have more work to do. So, a day like this is not only about making speeches and dining and then, awards. It's a day also we reflect upon the future. What path do we take to move forward? What are some of the challenges and how can we address this together? We might even come up with solutions that we could take up with government. We can take up with donor partners. We can take up even at the level of the GPU itself. Because remember, the awards committee is constituted to do this on behalf of the GPU. Okay, so what we do on behalf of the Union of Journalism family, the journalism community. So at the end of the day, we are hoping that it's going to be so fulfilling and we are praying that it will be a success.
Thank you so much. It was amazing having you. That's all from us. So bye from me.
Thank you.